And we're live.
And we're live. And we're live.
Wait for it.
We're not
it's
live.
the OK Podcast. Woo!
Woo, that was good.
Like
Are you gonna start
We
every
forgot about
podcast
that.
like that?
Yeah, we are.
I really did forget about that.
So what's funny though is you can hear it pretty well on the Zoom audio, but when I edit your actual audio, what is that? The 835? Is that Sennheiser 835? It's so directional that you can barely hear. So it's like the OK Podcast. Like just a little bit of sound.
That's awesome. I'm okay with that.
But I do want to let our listeners know, for those segments, when Paul's yelling, it's the OK Podcast, he's violently, maybe? No, not violently. That's the wrong word.
Aggressively.
Aggressively, but I want it to sound happy. He's
joyously.
Yes, joyously. What do you even call that?
Enthusiastically.
Enthusiastically.
There we go.
Smacking a cowbell with a drumstick. So, good times.
Not drumstick.
Oh.
It's a drumstick and a pen.
What?
I can write with this. I got 2 of them, bro. Someone gave them to me as a gift. I'm like, this is awesome.
That's amazing.
I use them more as drumsticks because they're pretty thick pens, but it's cool.
Have you drummed a song with them before?
I don't want to talk about it.
Wait.
Waves, yeah.
The whole EP, which speaking of, transitions.
Yes, so this is the special edition bonus episode number 3. Can you believe that? Already on the 3rd bonus episode of the OK Podcast, and
A lot for a band.
what's that?
We podcast a lot for a band. I'm moving you guys.
We podcast more than we play live shows. That's
This is true.
very
For now.
true.
It's only temporary.
And so this will just be a quick, like half hour.
Fast.
What are you saying, Nick?
For 2020, I think all musicians had to learn how to be influencers real fast.
Yeah. Some didn't have to, and I'm kind of envious of that. They're just kind of still making bank on merch or whatever. I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know. Prada's playing all of their albums in entirety on a live stream. Like, you can watch them.
Who is?
Devil Wears Prada.
Wow.
Yeah. ABR, I think, just did that too. Well, I don't know about all of them. I think they did. It was Thrill Seeker. I saw some parts of it. It was pretty sweet. Sound quality was really good.
Their next one, they're doing the zombie EP.
Oh, dang.
I don't know if you
tempting.
guys are getting this same effect, but when I talk over Paul, I can still hear Paul. But if I talk over Nick, his audio is gone. It's like muted out. Can you hear Nick when he's talking, Paul?
Do I need to?
No, I can hear him.
You guys hear me all right?
I hear you all right, but sometimes you'll start saying something I don't hear it until like halfway through.
That's all right. We'll get through it.
Yeah.
You just communicate in half sentences, okay? That's terrible. Paul, I don't even feel like that was that funny. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about the album because what happened is right now is Tuesday, but on Friday, which is now the same day in the past, we became an overnight sensation.
That's right.
I'm sure many people are aware of this. I mean, just boom.
Bam.
Overnight. And
The waves, man. The waves.
So Latency is out.
Latency is out.
It's out.
It's out.
And it's on time. It's not late.
No latency involved.
Yeah, so we had some questions about Latency as a title. I don't know. I mean, it worked as a title.
No, we were so a little like what sparked that was we were, for those that want to know, as a band we all recorded in our own little setups. We didn't get together and record stuff. And for those of you who have never recorded before, latency is an ongoing battle that you have where the instrument that you're playing is plugged into whatever interface. And you're playing in real time with what you're hearing, but it's lagging. It's not recording. There's some latency there. And that's just a constant battle. So we were constantly talking about, we've got some latency issues on our end. And then it just, Zach, how did, because you're the one that made the connection.
Well, I think Paul was like, there was some latency or something like that. And then you said there was latency. And I was like, Man, there's a lot of latency there. Latency. Some people put that T real heavy in there. And so I Googled it. I was like, I want to make sure it means what I think it means. And so when we're talking about it, here I'm looking at Oxford Dictionary. It's whatever you Google, you know.
That's right.
What we're talking about is in computing, it's the delay before transfer of data following an instruction for its transfer. So we're hitting the note, right? And then we're going into an audio software, a digital workstation, and there's a delay between when we play it and when it makes it onto the track, right? That's what we're talking about. But latency also means this here. It also means the state of existing but not yet being developed, or it can mean concealment. And so I felt like that was kind of cool because when we did, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So that kind of described what we were after, right? We were developing something and it was created, but it's not quite there, you know? We were separated during the process. And then even like since then, we've had photos of ourselves taken where we're all in the same place. I would even argue maybe better options for our album cover, but the album cover itself even has a little bit of that, the notion of like, you know, you can tell it was all three of us on different, you know, photo shoots, kind of amateurish, but it really just kind of embodies the album, I think. I think that the cover is imperfect, but it's somehow perfect because of that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's dive into, I don't know what we're talking about here. We're good on time.
Oh, yeah.
What did you say, Nick?
We're talking about the release.
Yeah, we're talking about E. So we've already talked a lot about. Well, let's just go track by track here. We've talked a lot about Waves. Waves is the first track. Anything else, you guys?
I just talk about the boss pedals that I have.
Yeah.
Anything crazy you guys want to add on to Waves? I think people can
Nope.
go back and listen to everything we've talked about Waves.
Well, I just want to say I made a big stink about using that yellow snare drum. That was really cool. And the funny thing is, it was in semi-working condition for the recording. Like, it worked. It wasn't exactly how I wanted it, but I was like, yeah, this will work. And then after Waves, I forget what song I tracked next, but I was going to use it for that. And I was like, you know, I should try and make this, you know, in even better shape. And I broke it, so...
Oh, gosh.
Only on Waves, and it's still not fixed, so...
We'll have to fix it.
It's going to get fixed. Well, I already found another one that I want to use, so... But I don't have it purchased yet, but we'll get there.
You guys buy the EP so Paul can fix his snare drum.
Yeah. Please, everybody, thanks.
Speaking of buying the EP, let's talk about our pre-order. for
Yeah.
a second. So part of our distribution deal, which we use CD Baby for this particular EP, is that they can get it available for pre-order on iTunes, which is not Apple Music. iTunes is the site where you purchase the music. Apple Music is the site where you stream the music for a fee. And so iTunes had a pre-order available, which I would have been all over that before I had Apple Music. But now it's just kind of like, all right.
Yeah.
If I go back to buying music, I'll use that for sure. But Nick, our mom went and found. She had never, I don't think, even used the iTunes Store app on her phone, but she went and found it.
Because it's like I think it was Mother's Day or something. I added her to my Apple Music plan because we have the family plan and we only have 2 phones on it. So, But she was like. She for the longest time called it the Magic Radio app on my phone.
Which
That's fantastic.
I think a lot of people don't get. Not to make this podcast all about our mom. Shout out to Mom though; she's the best. I don't think a lot of people get that nuance. Like she's not dumb, and she's not really playing dumb. She just has always phrased things like that, almost kind of jokingly or. Just because I think mostly because she knows that it like aggravates. We're like, Mom, it's called Apple Music, Mom, like that kind of, like that. So she just does stuff like that every time she talks to us about things like that. But yeah, she went out of her way. Shout out to Mom to pre-order the album, even though she could have just listened for free. So Well, I mean, you know,
It's dedication, man. That's support right there.
Does
that's
that?
awesome.
Been trying to bug us for stuff like that for our entire lives. Like when I started playing guitar, and she found out that the strings are called Ernie Ball. She called them Bert and Ernie's for a while.
That's great. I dig it.
Dude, I found out a comedy band was sponsored by Ernie Ball, and I was like, granted, they're very successful.
In the back of their string packs, everyone's sponsored by Ernie Ball.
It's pretty awesome. I would accept it. I would gladly accept it.
They make.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm sorry?
They make fantastic strings. Absolutely.
I think they're good.
I don't hate it.
Okay, back to the what were we talking about? So yeah,
Latency.
it was available for pre-order. Yeah, we're still talking about the album. What's the next one? First Time. Also, can I make a side note here? I just want to acknowledge that every track on the album has the most like cliche basic name that it could possibly have. It's like I feel like every band has a song called First Time or a song
That's
called
how you know
Come
we're
Home.
onto something.
Yes. But so First Time. Let's talk about First Time.
Songs that sound like bees.
Nick, I'm so sorry. I only ever get the like you're just moving your lips now. I didn't hear any of that. Are you hearing it, Paul?
No, that time he cut out.
Okay.
You guys are just mean.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Every time you say something, I'm like, what did he just say?
All right. Well, you guys talk about First Time. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to change up things.
Sorry, Nick.
Sorry,
We
Nick.
love you.
All right, First Time, Paul. Let's talk about the drums specifically. So First Time, I had recorded the drums for the demo as I did for the first batch of songs here.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, it was going to be like this. It was going to be like this kind of pockety song, like not something that I'm capable of doing, where it's kind of got this, like kind of like a, just very kind of almost like laid back, kind of easing that shoulder into it. And I was like, oh, Paul will be able to nail that perfectly. And you were like, yes, I could nail that perfectly. Also, how do you feel about double time in this? And I was like, what is going on? And it was amazing. So what was when you sat down with the track, what were your thoughts on that?
Well, it's funny because looking back, I don't really remember the demo version of that one that well. So I'm trying to picture it, but it's just gone because that one, I spent a fair amount of time on like writing the drums and working them out for that one because, for me, being that like pop punk was one of the first genres I really got into when I started playing drums, anytime I hear like a more upbeat song, my mind goes there. I'm like, how can we make this a pop punk song? And that song in no way is pop punk outside, kind of the tempo. But so yeah, I wanted to do, have some dynamics, but I felt like the pre-chorus of that song, there was something that just really, I don't know, really grabbed me to do like the fast high at the and I was like, man, this is cool. It's funny because when I was recording, I was like, dang, I haven't played this in a long time, and that hurt after like the first take. So,
so typically, we have gotten mixes back in the evening, which is interesting. I don't know why specifically it's been the evening, but I feel like every time we got them back, I was almost like asleep because I go to bed early.
It's true.
And I'm like listening just on the phone, which again is a bad way to listen. And I'm like, I turned to Tam, I'm like, he did a double time hi-hat on the. Actually, that wouldn't have been during a mix. That would have been, I would have seen that before. So maybe I was like, I don't know. Maybe you sent your stems or something, and I was like,
yeah,
he did it. And I was like, I don't know why. It sounds so much better that way.
Yeah, man. It felt right. I felt like it built better that way because like the first part of the verse, the very first verse, it's down, and then I come in with that, and then we go to the chorus, and the second verse is just kind of that more, up tempo pocket groove. But I don't know. I felt like it built with the pre-chorus really well, throwing that in there. Plus, layered with the tambo and the shaker. It brings it out. So
Well, I'll speak briefly on the keys part. This is a very keys heavy song. First Time has, I think, the most synth and piano parts out of the whole EP. It might be a contender with Come Home just because I recorded a lot of layers for Come Home. But so First Time, I was like hoping that everything could get featured, right? Because Nick's guitar parts are incredible, the drums are incredible, and then I was like, all right, well, I laid down a keyboard and then another piano and then another synthesizer and then a buzzy synthesizer and then a big buzzy bass synth, and I was like, I want all of this to be crystal clear in the mix. And it's like, mixes don't work that way. You have to like blend, and eventually Matt got it into this like really, really nice blend of everything. But it's interesting because you can almost listen through, and if you say, okay, this time I'm going to listen for organic piano sound, you'll hear it. And it's like, okay, this time I'm going to listen for the main chording synthesizer, and you'll hear it. And it's kind of cool how Matt was able to bring all those parts together. Because
Definitely.
the demo, all I did was just keep throwing. It's like, I need this sound also, and I would throw that on top. Nick,
Yeah, Matt's the man. Side note.
Are you back with us audio-wise?
I'm with you in the same way, but I was trying to find headphones that have a microphone on them, and the only ones that I have are my wireless, and they don't
Gotcha.
hook back up.
No problem. I'll just try to avoid speaking over you, which is probably a good habit.
Well, I mean, you're the man, so go for it.
Boom!
You're like, what would be different?
LSD, hell.
So, Nick, I don't know if you want to talk about a little bit about your guitar parts on First Time, or I think it's worth mentioning. We've mentioned it a couple times just kind of amongst the band. I don't know what the right. The First Time is almost the bridge between our old band, Ocean City, and then the new stuff with the OK. I feel like First Time has a little bit of that Ocean City vibe to it.
Yeah. So it was actually kind of funny because I already felt that about the song. And so when I was recording, there were a couple parts for it that I wrote in the studio that I was trying to stay as far away from that kind of alternative pop punk sounding guitar, like palm mutes and power chords and stuff. I was trying to stay away from it. And then it ended up on that pre-chorus. That's the part that worked, was the muted, 2-string power chords, and that was the only thing that worked. Like, because my first thought was something completely different, and it just didn't sound right. But no, I liked this one because it made me not play something different, but arrange differently. Because I've always, I come from a punk and more hardcore background where the guitars are the driving chords of the song. Like that's what drives the song, is the guitars. And in this one, like you said, there's a lot of keys, there's a lot of synth stabs, and then my guitars are just kind of like decoration around it.
I don't know. So not to exclude you, Paul, you could easily play them, I'm sure, but for this one you played percussion instruments. Did it bother you at all, Nick, that it was in F sharp?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll admit that this song, if you weren't, familiar before, you are now. The song's in F sharp, which means that I wrote it in G and decided it was like a fraction too high. And so for most of the keyboard parts, I ended up playing a lot of it in G and then transposing it down a half step. So unfortunately, Nick did not have that option. He has to play everything organically. So I feel bad about it. I have
and stuff, but like you always want to be able, like when you're in the studio, it's obvious, like musicians, especially guitarists, they layer stuff and they get different sounds. You get cleaner cuts on stuff if you layer things, but you have to be able to play that live.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in, like, if you're going to overdub, you got to be able to recreate that when someone is actually listening to you in person.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise it's cheating. And that's just my mindset.
It's funny because for our live set, I play the second guitar part on this one, which is not quite what you're playing. It's more, it's closer to the rhythm section versus like a second lead part. But I capo whatever the heck I capo, like way up on the neck and play like C and F shapes. And you're just over there capoless, just rocking it. And it's crazy. It's funny how just throwing that one wrench in there, just being like, this is in F sharp. It's like it really shows like who can legitimately play guitar, i.e. Nick, and who's just kind of like making it work, and that's me.
I would disagree because there's some shortcuts that I use for not using a capo.
Fair enough.
You play like every chord in a song without ever moving your hand, and just kind of changing the shape that you're playing. Like you capo with this finger and then play everything else.
Oh, yeah, okay, fair. Man, I hope no like like legit jazz guys or anything are listening to this podcast like,
oh yeah, they're gonna
in F sharp. Yeah, like with no incidentals. I don't know what incidentals, accidentals. What are those called?
the notes that are yellow keys.
I don't. Why am I having trouble with that? I learned that in 6th grade.
Incidentals.
They're accidentals. Oh man. Yeah. Okay. Crazy.
What key are your drums in?
For this song, I tuned them in. Hang on a second. Let me think. Z flat.
I would almost bet that Matt, through a little bit of just slight tweaking magic, kind of made the drum tones similar to the key of the song. If you didn't do that, Paul, because if you're saying you just like tuned out standard tuning and then I felt like a lot of times they really, really meshed with the chordage.
I would agree. I mean, Matt's magical, so he threw that Matt magic on it.
Hear me out. I love Matt, but I don't want to give Matt the credit if it was you, Paul. Because you're
I didn't tune. Outside of a few. Oh
no,
bad.
Man,
for those of you just listening right now, Paul's camera just went flying
there we
across
go.
the room.
Wow, my bad. I gotta watch where this cable is.
All right, this might be
just got a close
really,
up of the hi hat. That was great.
This might be a really
outside of the snare, I didn't like retune anything. So
this might be a really front heavy podcast because we only have like 8 minutes left on Zoom here.
Woo woo!
Yeah, we made the mistake of all getting on Zoom on the free version and then going and getting coffee. So
yeah,
this will be
we'll figure it out.
It's all it is. It's a short promo podcast. I hope you guys are really enjoying these. But like the main message being, you need to go listen to Latency like twice at least.
Probably 4 times.
So let's
and then 8.
Let's zoom on through here. Breakthrough. Okay, so let me say this. That's the beauty of this EP, and I hope the listeners and fans love it just as much as I do, because First Time was a song I was ridiculously excited about, and then it became my least favorite of the whole EP. By no means do I dislike it, but I love all the other songs more, and that just shows that like if I think that's the low spot of the EP, then like that's insane. But Breakthrough, I mean, it is what it is. My favorite part about it is honestly just the way it was so simple.
Yeah, definitely. Well, because I'll be completely honest with you, Zach. I was the complete opposite. Breakthrough was I did not want to play it at all. And it's because of that minor chord progression you start with.
Oh yeah.
I just felt gloomy and everything, but then once it was all put together, it was just great.
It felt very basic to me.
Yeah.
The verses.
But now it's probably my favorite on the record.
It's funny because Breakthrough was my least favorite of the demos way back in the day when you guys sent them. Like, I didn't hate it, but I was like, meh, whatever, it's a song. And then when recording it, well, 2 things. One, that was the one that I had the most latency issues on, at least. So I was so frustrated recording that song, man. But every time I listen to it now, I feel like it's just got such a good like vibe to it, and I think like the tempo and the overall feel. Like I'm most excited to play that one live because I feel like people are just gonna like just kind of just to sway and like head bob and like just groove to it.
I kind of have this fantasy of doing that one live, and like when it kind of gets to those breakdown grooves where you guys are just kind of like you're holding the fort down, just do those for like an hour. You know what I'm saying?
Right. People at one point, people are gonna bring the lighters out. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be great.
I honestly, I don't have much to like brag about or say about my parts on the song. It's like basic keys, basic pad synth, and then the vocals I felt like turned out really nice, but not because of me. Like I just think they got mixed in really well.
Word.
We're never gonna have the whole lighter moment. Everybody uses phones because, no, but like the whole world is shifting over to vaping instead of smoking.
Yeah,
Like
everyone, hold up. I don't know how you make your
LED.
Bring your lighters just for the songs, people.
It's a COVID album, so everyone will hold up their masks.
Ayo.
Wait, that's bad. You're supposed to leave them on.
Encouraging people to take
No,
your
they
masks.
Great.
Hold up there goes our
mask.
career.
You glow in the dark mask.
Okay, there we go.
All right,
Yeah.
we're looking at 5 minutes here. So sorry, everybody, for talking about nonsense for the first 20 minutes.
They're going to bring their okay masks and wave them around. Anyway, carry on.
Yes.
Hey,
So
let's bring this home. Speaking of home, come home.
Oh, perfect transition, Paul. Come Home is, I think, everybody's favorite, if not Waves.
Yeah.
I really love Waves. It was the great place to start off, but Come Home was like, oh. I think I was actually a little surprised. You guys were both, especially you, Paul, when we first kind of attacked the song, you were like, this song's so good. I was like, really?
Yeah. It's my favorite.
I'll say real quickly the riff, that that didn't make any sense. I'm the singer in the band, believe it or not. That was stuck in my head, and I played it at that Yamaha keyboard back there 100 times before I even wrote the song. So it was cool to finally get it into something.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
And then Nick, I think you came up with the idea of, really hitting that minor chord in the intro, like just really smacking it hard, right?
Yeah.
So that was super cool, kind of developing that little...
We were practicing and trying to get the songs ready for that live gig that we did with tracks.
Yeah.
I did it as a joke because I was frustrated with the song, and
Yeah, I don't know, man. I love that song. It's got such like a 80s like anthem vibe to it, and I really dig it. The chorus is so just like, I don't know, hard hitting, but not in like an aggressive way. Just like, man, it just grabs you.
Yeah.
The chords and everything, and like the verb and the way Nick hits those chords on the guitar. Ooh, it's just good. And the synth work on that song.
Ooh, thanks. Yeah, I recorded way too many layers on that, but Matt made sense of all of it.
He did.
So that's a great shout out, and I also want to give a shout out to Soothsayer. I have a hard time with my S's here. Soothsayer Audio.
For real.
David over there did an amazing job on the mastering as well. So that's something we don't give enough credit for. But we of course love Matt McQueen, who mixed the whole thing. But David at Soothsayer, he really did what he did.
He's a master of mastering.
Yeah, master of mastering.
Dude, I listen to these tracks, I'm like, man.
So
it's great.
If you guys are listening shamelessly just on your phone speakers, it sounds good, partly because of us, a good majority because of Matt, and definitely because of David. So
it's true.
Anyway, that's we have 2 minutes left here. I don't know that we really got into a whole lot of stuff, but fear not, listeners, fans, supporters, and family out there. We will be doing behind the songs for the remaining 3 songs on the EP. I don't know if I told you guys that yet, but
good to know. I'm just kidding. I knew. I figured.
And we'll definitely talk about it more on podcasts and stuff. So go out there, listen to it. It's available everywhere now. If you're listening to this podcast, it's out. Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube Music, I believe, all that good stuff. Wherever you want to listen to it, it's there. It's called Latency, and we are the OK.
Whoop whoop! Go listen to Latency. Yay!
Any final thoughts, gents?
Nah, nothing from me.
I just want to say.
I just want to say. That was
okay.
great.
I just
no,
want to
you
say
what
it
you
was
just
awesome,
want to
and
say
thank
first.
you guys. Thank you guys for putting your personal mark on the record, because I felt like even though we were separated, it definitely felt like a full band effort.
It did, and I was not happy about the fact that we were going to have to, do this in different states, in different rooms and stuff initially. But it was a good experience, and it worked out. And I'm glad we were able to keep that team effort.
Yes.
I'm just happy it's out, man. It feels really good that it's like, boom, the moment is here. Everybody can listen to, more than just Waves, but Waves is great. But
Yes.
the 4 songs fit together so well. It's good, man.
Again, it was awesome to become such a big overnight sensation because of this EP, and I'm
Bingo,
sure
man.
We're vastly famous at this point. So, no, but we're grateful for everyone's support thus far, and this is just the beginning. Once again,
That's right.
all right,
Cool.
That's it.
All right.
Have what it takes, but we just packed our stuff